what she said to me. Que sera, sera. Whatever will be, will be. The future's not ours to see. Que sera, sera. When I was just a child in school, I asked my teacher, what should I try? Should I paint pictures? Should I sing songs? This was her wise reply. Que sera, sera. Whatever will be, will be. The future's not ours to see. Que sera, sera.
We're going to sing happy birthday to you. Yes, yes. Oh, yeah, I do. Of course.
Español.
Hola.
Hola.
Donnie, you have to share with someone the song.
100%.
Happy birthday.
Nacieron todas las flores.
welcome you to this event. In thinking over, like, creating a special event for your birthday, we always felt that we all talked. And one of the things that really stands out throughout the years is that we know how precious your photo albums are. And we really realize that for you, that you've always asked us, well, where are all these memories going to go? And we feel that in a way, because of you, you've helped us preserve our memories of our life. And that all of us, every time we wondered where we were, at a bar mitzvah or a wedding or a vacation, we always know. Or recently, I know that you showed us the video of Dad's party, surprise party, and these are very precious. So we felt that one of the things that we want to do is you have actually planted a seed, and we're going to continue that tradition tonight by making another video to add to your collection. And what we did in that spirit is that we wanted to use the occasion of your birthday to each of us, we've been all working on this, to ask you a personal question about
You're in the hot seat.
You're in the hot seat.
The hot seat.
And we've all wanted to. We've all talked, and we've talked about this event and what we thought would be a special opportunity to ask you each something we've been dying to ask you. And so we're each going to take turns, and we don't want to take maybe within the next 35, 40 minutes, just a few minutes, just a little answer each. Each of us is going to ask you a question, and we wanted to actually make a video and actually get down on record something that we feel can be really gone back to again and again and again and value in the coming years.
Oh my God.
So
this is my life?
yeah.
Sonya, this is your life in 66 minutes, all right?
Yeah, your life is about. And then afterwards, we have something that we've all prepared for you to end kind of as a closing. We're all going to do a little closing thing for you. But everyone worked together on this. I just want you to know all of us have been talking and with each other.
I'm shocked.
My fondest memories of my childhood was playing jacks with you on the kitchen floor on Pelham Avenue. And thinking back to our early years on Pelham Avenue, what stands out as some of your fondest memories with Stan, Maureen, and I?
Yeah. Well, after being married for two years, and I lived in an apartment that my in-laws owned, and luckily, through the help of Eddie's father, he helped us buy this house on Pelham Avenue. And at that time, when I first moved, it was just you and Stan. And we loved it there. We were there for 13 and a half years. You guys were friends with the Bulls down the street. And Stan loved this drugstore that was across the street. And we played a lot of jacks. And then, of course, when Maureen was born, I added an extra room so the house would be bigger. But even then, we felt crowded. So luckily, your dad was doing real well at Johnny's, and we moved to a beautiful home in Westwood.
Thank you.
Who's next?
Very beautiful lady.
Am I talking too much?
Perfect.
No, because I can't help it.
Yeah.
Great.
These are full questions.
Always perfect. Okay, so Grandma, I see you as the matriarch of our family, which you are, and I admire your determination and ability to stay in touch with everyone, no matter what country they reside in. I'd like to ask you to share with us your thoughts and beliefs about what it is to be a family.
What it is to be a
What does it mean to you to be a family?
Okay. You know, I think I learned this from my parents. One thing about my parents, they always felt that family was the most important thing. And when I first came to Los Angeles, and my parents lived in a small apartment. Anybody from the family that would come from another country, and our house was so tiny, they were never allowed to go to a hotel. Family is the most important thing, and we can always make room. And I think I learned it from my parents because they always instilled in me how important family is and how everybody needs to be together. And my biggest joy in my whole life has been my family. I adore all of you. I love you all so much. And of course, you've given me a lot of happiness. And I have 6 wonderful grandchildren. And I hope to be here a few more years. Maybe see a couple of my grandchildren get married and attend their events. And,
No pressure.
No pressure, no pressure. But, you know, especially for Stan and Bonnie and Maureen, I don't know about my grandchildren. You know how important family was to us. My home where I live in Westwood was an open house, was a total open house. I'm not lying, every Sunday in the summer, because we have this huge backyard with this beautiful pool, we had family and friends all the time. And if you kids remember, Grandma Luna, I used to have every Sunday my in-laws and my parents for dinner. And they would come, my in-laws, my mother-in-law would come earlier to give these 2 a bath. And I learned from them, and I've done it to Edison and Wyatt when they were a little younger, is when they get out of the bath, what do I do, Edison? What do I do, Wyatt? Edison? Rub you with talcum powder and give you massages. Am I right? Now you're too big for me to do that. So, family's everything.
Thank you.
Everything.
All right.
Mr. Donnie.
Hi, Grandma. You have so much spunk and enthusiasm. How do you look so young, and what's your secret for keeping your spirit so alive?
Wow. Well, you know, I've always been a very I've never been a negative person.
Yeah.
I've always felt there was always good about everybody, good about everything. And I think that I feel blessed that I've always liked life. And even to this day, in a way, I'm very disciplined, very organized. I feel that the reason that maybe I look so good, if you think I look good, is that I do take good care of myself. I get up in the morning, first thing, I get on the floor for a half hour. I do all these stretch exercises because I've had a back problem. And through physical therapy, I learned from them what exercises to do. And I watch very little television. I love to read. I love to take walks. I'm always talking to my kids, my friends. I'm just enjoying life. I'm like the theater. I'm up with everything. I never relax in the daytime. I'm active. So maybe that's what it is.
Thank you.
Wow, this is
So, I know that you and Grandpa Eddie like to dress up in costume, and this is a passion that many of us also share. So I was wondering when this love affair with dress up and costumes began, and I wanted to know, some of your favorite characters that you guys dressed up as, and just also why you enjoy it.
well, I when I first got married, I was friends with this friend Marilyn who was married, and she introduced me to a couple of friends, and we were getting together and learned a new game called Pan, and that we played. And before we knew it, we were like 8 girls. So we used to get together once a week and play cards. Little by little, we had little babies, and these 8 couples really bonded together. And before we knew it, and we all had little children, we decided we would start getting together with our husbands, and once a month, we would take turns having dinner. And then I had the bright idea that Halloween was coming up, and Valentine's, and Christmas. Why don't we start having a theme? So the theme was that when it was at your house, you decided what your theme would be. Like, I've had Hawaiian, I had Turkish. A couple of my friends would have wear kind of like reverse, where the husband's dressed like women. So it was really wonderful, and it was potluck. You know, the hostess would provide the drinks and the house, and it was up to her also to set up the menu and hand each one what to make. Now, you've seen a lot of my costumes in my albums. I mean,
I like that. So you even did foods with the themes.
Yes.
Nice.
Oh, yeah. It was all. I mean, we would decorate and everything.
Yeah.
It was just terrific. Yeah. Once I had this Turkish where everything got out of the living room, and we got all these pillows, and the men, we called them the pashas. The pashas. So the man that night could say to the woman, feed me, serve me, give me drinks, this, that. I mean, we just did this for many,
Is that
many
your
years.
favorite when you were in your purple outfit?
Yes.
Your purple dancer?
Yeah, my mother-in-law used to sew beautifully. And my mother-in-law went, and they've seen my costume. She had a lot of fabrics from Turkey. And she had like a purple fabric that had, and she says it was real gold threads. I don't know. So she made Eddie and I our own costumes.
Oh, so she made them for you.
She made it,
So
and I still have them. I still
Good,
have
we
those
need it because the
costumes.
gold is worth a lot.
Yeah. Wonderful.
And then we did a lot of characters from TV, you know.
Uh-huh.
So, anyway.
That's wonderful.
Thank you.
And you like costumes.
I love costumes. Yes. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Where were you born, and why did you change your name from Sophia to Sonia when you moved to this country?
Okay. I was born in a little town called Puerto Cabello in Venezuela. Actually, it was a beautiful little place. It was like a little port, and you were right by the water. And do you want me to tell you how Grandma and my parents met? Do you all know that?
Go ahead, say, share it.
You would?
Yeah.
Let me head back. Okay. My mother was one of, as you all know, was one of 20 children. My mother was the 18th child. By the time my mother was marriageable age, in those days in Poland, you had to give a dowry. And even though at one time my mom's parents were well-to-do, by the time she was 22 years old, they were poor and they could not afford a dowry. So my mother was 23 years old. In those days in Poland, to be 23 years old, you were already considered almost an old maid. So my mother had 3 brothers who had moved to Venezuela, because in those days they made you go in the army. Now, my dad came from my mother was from Warsaw, Poland. Okay, my father was from a little city called Ostrowiec, Poland. And my dad went to Venezuela, to Caracas, to avoid the army. So my mother's 3 brothers corresponded with my mother and said, there's a lot of lovely young Jewish young men from Poland who have moved to Venezuela. And there's no Jewish women. They don't want to marry a Gentile woman. You know, it shocks it. If you come here, you will have no trouble meeting someone. So my mother and her sister. Incredible. My mother and her sister took a ship. In those days, there were no planes. We're talking about 1930. And they came. Now, one of my mom's brothers, Uncle Moshe, which you know, my Uncle Moshe, already decided that he had somebody for my mom, which was my dad. Because my dad, he was a hardworking man. He was a peddler. All his money he sent to his parents. So when my mother came here with her sister, my uncle said to my dad, I have actually 2 sisters that you can choose. You know? Anyway, he liked my mom. Now, my mom at first was very apprehensive. And this was like a fixed type of thing. And the sister, she was introduced not only to my dad, but to other young men. She didn't like anybody. We have my mother on video because Bonnie videoed my parents, and my mother admits and says, I'm not going to lie to you. I did not love your dad when I married him, but he's a good man. He's a wonderful man. And what am I going to do? Go back there? I'll be an old maid. So and my father was crazy about her. So she married him. Now, I don't know if I'm talking too long, but I think this is very important for all of you to know why 2.5 years later we moved to Lima, Peru. Okay. I was born about 10 months or 11 months after they got married. And then about a year and a half later, or almost 2 years, my mother got pregnant with my sister. And she was crying all the time. All of a sudden, she became very homesick. And she decided that she wants to have her baby in Poland. And this was very courageous. Me, a little girl, I think I wasn't even 2 years old, and my mother's pregnant and goes back to Poland. And that's where my sister was born. Mm-hmm. Even though she's 2.5 years younger than I. My sister was born in Warsaw, Poland.
Yeah, and then they barely got back.
No, my mother wanted to come back to Venezuela. All of a sudden, they call it quotas. They closed the quotas. My mother could not return to Poland. To Venezuela. My father went to the embassy, did all kinds of things. No way. So what did my dad do? He came back to Poland. And they didn't like the life there. But my father had a brother who had moved to Lima, Peru. And he corresponded with the brother, and the doors were open to move to Lima, Peru. So that's why, when I was 2.5 years old, from Poland, we went to Lima, Peru.
And your name from Sophia to Sonya?
I was named Sophia. And I don't know why, years later, Sophia became so popular. It's such a beautiful name. But I was called, in my Jewish name, they always called me Sonyechka. Sonyechka. And I kind of like the name Sonyechka. But when I came to the United States, no. So I decided I don't want to be called Sophia. I want to be called Sonya. So that's what happened.
Yeah, that's great.
He has another part that he wants to ask.
Did it take you a long time to get used to your new name? And how long did it take you to learn English? And what were your first impressions of the United States?
Okay. Well, when I came to this country, now the reason that we moved to this country, I mean, everything has story, is my mother is one of 20 children, okay? So you know that there was a war, and you know that 6 million Jews were killed. So my mother lost a lot of her brothers there. And the two uncles that lived in Los Angeles, who became very prosperous, when the war ended, they decided both to go to Poland and see if they could find any of the family alive. And they did. They found 5 brothers who were alive. And they brought them to Los Angeles. In Lima, Peru...
Which brothers?
Huh?
Which brothers?
Okay. Isidore, Jacob, Paul, Moshe, and Abraham. But Abraham decided to
Go to Cross.
Venezuela. So, in Lima, my mother, the family that was there was all my dad's family. My dad had a brother and a sister and their children. But when my mother heard that all her brothers who had survived and they were in Los Angeles, she says, I gotta be in Los Angeles and live near my brothers.
Okay.
So that's when we came to Los Angeles. I was 15 years old, and I did not speak a word of English, and you know most of the story because you've asked me for one of your classes. So should I still?
Just your first impressions?
Yeah.
Did you like America?
Oh, yes. I was fascinated by the United States. We arrived in Miami, and we came by train. We were on train for 4 days, and we saw the service people, and I thought everybody was wonderful and very kind. And when I came here, yes, I did not speak a word of English. My mother hired a private tutor for me, and I was put in the 7th grade, which I belonged to in the 9th grade, but through an interpreter. The interpreter went with me to the principal and said, this young lady wants to be in the 9th grade, even though she doesn't speak English, she would rather repeat the 9th grade rather than to be in the 7th grade, because I was worried that I was going to be stuck there. I was very good with languages. It took me 3.5 months to learn English, and I graduated junior high, and I started high school at the age of 15, and I brought all my credits from Lima, and I was way ahead in algebra, geometry, a lot of courses that didn't pertain to the United States. And the reason that I started UCLA at the age of 16 is I was skipped from the B10 to the A11th. And I graduated high school at the age of 16. I took all the tests at UCLA, and I was accepted.
Grandma, you're a smart lady. Woo! She's got smart genes.
So, in even coming tonight and just one of the things that I feel almost like has been inspiration to me through the years, and is I love the way you have friendships. And I feel like throughout the years, like these people that are called friends, Marilyn, Saul, Irene Epstein, people around here, Carrie, Irene Sannett, I'm just awed that you have this thing that's been going on for years. And in a way, it's like, for me, it's like to even have, to be the fruit of your friendships has been a gift to me and I think our whole family. So I wanted to ask you, it's like, are you surprised, or how did you do this thing called friendship? I mean, you're just so amazing the way you've done this. You seem to just have a natural way, or like, did you know you'd have friends that would last all the way? Did you even know this was going to happen to you?
No, I didn't, but I have always cherished friendship. I've always sharing, always helping my friends. And I don't know, there must be something about me that whenever there were problems or whenever they wanted advice, they just knew. They just knew that they could come to me and that I'd be there for them. And I think it's worked both ways because I really have a lot of wonderful friends.
I know.
I have a lot of wonderful friends. As a matter of fact, I might as well share with you is I have friends, one group of friends who next week have gotten tickets because they know how much I love musicals for the show Fela. And there's 5 girlfriends who have gotten together and they bought tickets for Fela and they're taking me out to dinner. And then I don't know if you know this, but now this is not friends. My nieces and nephews are making me a party on the 26th. Jackie and Kathy, because I've been so close to them. And then through Fred's, this is in a way, I became friends 9 years ago with his group of friends, and they're all celebrating my birthday on January 7th, and they're all taking me out to lunch for my birthday.
You have a real knack for friendship.
So,
you really do.
I know, I do have yeah, I love people, and I love doing things for them.
That's great, yeah.
I really do.
So now, as a child, how did you get along with your little sister, Auntie Zelda, and your brother, Uncle Sammy? And how did your parents, Grandma Manya and Grandpa Shopsite, deal with you guys when you misbehaved?
What did they do when you misbehaved?
Yeah.
Okay, well, my sister and I are 2 years apart. I'm actually 2.5 years older. And I'll be honest with you, we did not get along too well because for some reason, even though we had the same set of parents, our personalities were totally different. And which in a way, thinking back now, it makes me feel very sad because my sister was always being compared to me. By nature, I was the more obedient child, the quiet child, the studious child. And my sister, till the age of 16, everybody thought she was a boy. I mean, she never wanted to be a girl. She was always with boys, doing sports. And I would say she was a real tomboy. And what makes me sad is that I found out later on in life how smart my sister is. So, as far as you're telling me how my parents treated the situation, they didn't do a good job.
Eddie owned a restaurant, and how come the restaurant is called Johnny's and not Eddie's? And what is your favorite food from Johnny's?
Okay. All right. Your dad, actually, Johnny's 2012 will be there 60 years. So when I first married your grandpa, he had a job at the Department of Water and Power. And beside that, his father had owned a few stands at the Central Market downtown. So on Saturdays he used to do that. So, but then he had a younger brother who had a restaurant downtown near city, you know, all the courts there, little shrimp place. And he was going to lose his lease. So and your grandpa also used to go to this shrimp place to work there to earn extra money. And he told his brother that he really liked the restaurant business. So his brother's name was Eli. And Eli said, you know, I have only 1 more year to be in this restaurant. So if you want, we can look for a restaurant and you will run it for a year, and then I will come and become partners with you. So Eddie and his father and his brother, they went all over the city of Los Angeles looking. and they sold Johnny's. And Johnny's at that time didn't have the patios. They only served hot dogs and pastrami and hamburgers. And they decided to buy it. Why did they keep the sign Johnny's? Because that sign was quite expensive. And they felt that if they eliminate that sign and put a new sign, it would cost a lot of money. Plus, a lot of people already knew Johnny's. So they kept the sign Johnny's. My favorite food, even though pastrami is the biggest seller at Johnny's, I can't begin to tell you how many pounds of pastrami they sell there. I'll head back a little bit. Once they got into the business, not only they had hamburgers and hot dogs, but they added shrimp, they added corned beef, they added a lot of other items. My favorite food at Johnny's is when I go there, I order half a dozen shrimp, and I love their coleslaw.
Where did you meet Dad? And what made you fall in love with him?
Okay. I was a student at UCLA, and I had this friend of mine her name was June Levine, who attended LA City College. And LA City College had a Hillel program for Jewish young people. And they would hold dances at LA City College once a month. And several times June asked me to go to those dances. And I don't know why I turned her down, because in those days, in order to go to LA City College, we had to take 3 buses. And,
Amazing.
you know, we didn't drive. But she called me up, and this friend that she was going with got sick, and she begged me. She says, please, please, Sonya, go with me. And I did. I go to this City College dance, and I'm sitting here with June, and all of a sudden, across the way, and they had been playing a lot of Latin music, this young man comes up to me, which ended up being your dad, and he asked me to dance, and he was a fabulous dancer, excellent dancer. I wasn't that good. But he started to dance with me, and he didn't let go. He kept dancing and dancing and dancing and dancing. And when we were ready, and he had come with a boyfriend, and so when we were ready to go home, we were going to go back around 10 o'clock because we were going to have to take 3 buses. He asked me, he says to me, would you like, because he asked me how I came, and I told him, he says, well, we would be more than happy to take you home. Now, in those days, and I came from a very strict background, you know, South American background, I was very apprehensive. But I don't know why. I had a good feeling about him. And I said, well, if you take me home, you know, you have to take my husband, June. And he says, yeah, no problem. So what's so interesting is he takes me home. And at that time, he used to smoke. And he asked me for my phone number. And I gave it to him. For 3 weeks,
Whoa.
I didn't hear anything. And I thought he was cute, and, you know, actually he was 9 years older than I. My God, I was barely 17 at the time. And about 3 weeks later, it's about 10:30 at night. I'm studying. I have my hair in rollers, and there's a knock on the door.
What?
Yeah.
I didn't know this.
And it was Eddie. And he apologized. My dad answered the door. And I came, and he says to me, you know, for 3 weeks now, I've been driving around hoping that you'd come out of your apartment, and I haven't seen you. And you look so nice and sweet and sincere. I couldn't believe that you would purposely give me a wrong number.
Wow.
Yeah. So when he told me the number, he had interpose two numbers.
Because we're all dyslexic.
Dyslexic. It runs in the family.
It runs in the family.
So.
He had done that, or you had
He
done
had reversed it.
He did.
He had
Because
reversed
you know
it.
how he took
That's
the
what
phone
you
number
do.
in his matchstick?
Yeah.
He wrote the number. So for 3 weeks, it took him to drive around, deciding to knock on the door. Anyway, so that's how we met.
That's a great story.
Wow.
Went on a date with him?
Yes. Then I started dating him, and then.
Did he give you an ultimatum? This isn't my thing, but didn't he give you an ultimatum
Yeah,
to marry
well,
you?
here I'm at I started UCLA when I was 16 years old. And I had been going to UCLA for about a year and a half. And I had all these ideas. I was majoring in French and in political science. My aim was that eventually I would be an interpreter for maybe the United Nations or something. And after 3 months, he proposes to me. And I looked at him, I says, I'm so young, I'm in school. He says, look, I know I'm much older than you, because he was 9 years older. I've dated a lot of women, and I've been waiting for the right person. And you are the right person. You are.
And look, we all came from that. And here we are.
So he said to me that I should think about it, because if I decide that I'm not going to be engaged to him, that's it. He'll stop seeing me. And so I had to do that thinking. And I talked to my parents, and they also thought that I was so young, and they wanted to know more about him. They started just checking up on him. Who is this young man? What kind of a family he comes from, So that's how it happened.
Thank you.
You mentioned, okay, quickly about your sister. Did she ever get married?
My sister's married.
No, the one, your mother's sister. Did she ever meet anybody?
She ended up dying in the Holocaust. She went back.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
If you guys want to ask me questions,
I missed the beginning of your, I didn't hear your
Okay,
The other sister.
The sister that came to me, the Win.
Yeah.
Manya's sister. Manya's sister.
She went back and she died.
Oh my. All right. So I didn't get your mother's first and last name, and Eddie. Wait, Eddie was your husband. Okay. What was his dad's? Just the names of the
family.
Yeah.
Well, Eddie's father's name was Sam.
Okay.
And Eddie's mother's name was Luna.
Okay, that was okay. And now I know their last name.
Yeah.
So,
Passy. Yeah. My parents, my father's name was Saul, and my mother's name was Malka. But they also called her Manya, and their last name Kirschenberg. When they came to this country, they shortened the name to Kirsch.
I just wanted to know those names.
Yeah, that's great. Okay.
In honor of your 80th birthday, we wrote a song for you. Okay? But I need to sit down the rest of
You sit down. You sit.
Okay.
Why don't we put a chair there?
Yeah, you'd be really. So you'd be in front.
There.
So this is your birthday theme song.
And Wyatt just added a verse, so, okay. One, 2, 3.
Isn't she lovely? Isn't she beautiful? Isn't she lovely? Isn't she wonderful? It's so hard to believe that you're going to be 80. Isn't she lovely? Yes, she is. You are so caring. You are so inspiring. You are she special? Isn't she wonderful? She always touches all our food and asks enough for you. Isn't she silly? Yes, she is. We're so lucky. We are so lucky. We are so touched by you. We are so thankful. We are so proud of you. We just want for you to know how much we love you so. We think you're lovely. Yes, you are.
Can I say a few? I am really surprised. I thought that when we would get here, we would be celebrating my birthday, and every day we would be together and have fun. But I never expected anything like this. This is so, like you say, I'm a lucky girl, lady, woman. It's hard for me to believe that I am becoming 80 years old. I mean, I feel like what you questioned that you were asking me, how come you're so youthful with the spark? It's because I think that in my mind and in my heart, I do feel very young. Yeah. And I hope that I feel very blessed. I do want to intercept Fred, that I think that these last, believe it or not, it's going to be 9 years in April. And I think that maybe because of Fred also being... How old did you say? Because of Fred being so caring to me, and we seem to have so much in common, and we are enjoying so much. He also is very youthful. I can't believe that you were doing basketball. I mean, volleyball today. Unbelievable. So, and also, I want you to know that my grandchildren are keeping me young. You are. I want you to know when I'm with Edison and when I'm with Wyatt and when I see Eitan and Donnie and Crystal and beautiful Selena, what more can I wish? God is good to me, very good to me. And of course, my wonderful children, my wonderful, wonderful children. I love you so much. And Joy, I love you also. You've been a good son-in-law for me. Yeah. Bye, guys.